Tucked away in the English countryside, there's a mansion where silence is golden and the lake ripples with memory. This isn't just any estate. It belongs to Sir Ian Botham, the man who once shook stadiums with a single swing. But what does life look like when the roars fade? Today, we step inside his $5 million Ravensworth estate, his Mediterranean hideaway in Almeria, his luxury cars, quiet fortune, and the extraordinary legacy of one of England's cricketing giants. Before the roaring applause, before the knighted title, before the million-dollar estates. There was a little boy in Heswall, Cheshire, chasing cricket balls before he even knew how to spell the word. Born in 1955 to a World War II Royal Navy airman and a nurse, Ian Botham's earliest memories weren't of grandstands or medals, but of fence hopping. Yes, hopping fences at Yeovil Boys Grammar School just to watch older boys play cricket. At 4 years old, he wasn't asking for toys. He was asking his mother, "Mom, do you know how to grip a daisy cutter ball?" That wasn't just a question. It was a prophecy. By age 9, Ian was already playing in school teams, often against boys 2 years older. He learned to swing big, not out of flair, but necessity. The older lads played hard, and Ian played harder. He followed his father to club matches, always carrying his kit, always hoping one team would be short a man. He didn't always get to bowl, rarely got to bat, but the kid could field. He became known not for his size, but for his hands, those sharp, fearless hands that would one day catch legends. At 13, he caught the eye of Somerset County's youth coach. By 15, he had already scored 80 runs on debut. And at 16, a decision came that could have changed English sports history. Crystal Palace offered him a football contract. But when asked what he truly wanted, he replied, "I believe I'm better with a bat than a ball at my feet." Somerset it was. He dropped out of school, joined Lord's as a ground boy, and did everything from pushing heavy rollers to cleaning changing rooms. But in between, he practiced. Alone. Early. Obsessively. Because somewhere deep down, he knew. He wasn't born to carry equipment. He was born to carry the game. His debut for Somerset came in 1973. He was 17. No flashy numbers. Just grit. Just one brilliant diving catch. But 1 week later, he tasted his first wicket. Jeff Howarth, LBW. He was still a teenager when he took a bouncer to the mouth, splitting his lip, cracking teeth, and stayed on the pitch. He scored 45 runs and won Somerset the match, with blood in his teeth and fire in his eyes. By 1976, Botham was on England's radar. He debuted for the national team that same year, and just 1 year later, he made history. His Test debut against Australia? 5 wickets. By 1980, he did what only one man in the history of cricket had done before: score a century and take 10 wickets in the same match. No longer just a player. Now, a phenomenon. But his true legend was born in 1981 at Headingley. England was losing. Follow-on enforced. Bookmakers offered 500 to 1 odds for a win. Then came Botham. With 149 not out, he dragged England from the ashes, literally, and gave birth to the term Botham's Ashes. He was no longer just playing for the country. He was the country. But fame came with weight, injuries, criticism, captaincy pressures, and yes, tabloid scandals. He was a comet in cricket's skies, burning bright and burning fast. Yet through it all, he never stopped swinging, never stopped believing, and never stopped winning hearts. From a 4-year-old with a stolen ball to a knighted hero with 383 wickets, 14 centuries, and the soul of a fighter. Sir Ian Botham wasn't just part of English cricket. He changed it. But when the stadiums went quiet, where did he go? The answer? To a little village in North Yorkshire, where peace echoes louder than applause. Let's step inside, estate in English country. After the roaring crowds, after the champagne victories, after the flashbulbs faded, Sir Ian Botham chose not the glamour of London or the sun-drenched coasts. He chose Ravensworth, a village so quiet, so untouched, it's almost invisible on a map. Population, 255. But within it, one of the grandest country estates in all of North Yorkshire. Tucked behind wrought iron gates and draped in ivy and privacy, lies a Georgian manor that whispers of old England and modern grace. Worth an estimated $5 million, this Grade 2 listed mansion spans over 11 acres of manicured gardens, forested patches, and green open fields. And right at the heart, a private fishing lake. Still, serene, the kind of water that doesn't just reflect your face, but your soul. Step through the stately entrance, and you're met with an atmosphere both regal and grounded. 5 reception rooms, each adorned in warm English oak and limestone finishes. A conservatory drenched in morning light, where the cricket legend starts his day with tea and the chirp of birds, not the clang of bats. The kitchen? Country style, with an Aga cooker and handmade cabinets. You can almost picture Botham standing there, apron on, debating Yorkshire pudding or Spanish paella. He's lived large, but he lives local now. The house boasts 9 bedrooms, spread across the main estate and its detached annex, each one with sash windows peering out into the English wild, each one echoing with memories, family gatherings, quiet winters, laughter by the fireplace. The main suite? Soft beige tones, a vintage writing desk, and a view of the trout lake that still calls him at dawn. They say this is where Sir Ian finds his peace. But there's more. Walk past the home gym and you'll find something unexpected. Renovated stables. Not for horses anymore, but for tools, bicycles, and yes, the occasional wild pheasant. Converted barns turned guest spaces. Walled gardens trimmed with almost military precision. And a chicken coop, because why not? In Ravensworth, even a knight enjoys fresh eggs. There's also a putting green. Of course, golf and fishing, Sir Ian's new battlegrounds. Except here, the only thing he battles is time. And he does it gladly. What makes this estate more than just bricks and stone is what it represents. It's not just retirement. It's rebirth. It's where a man who once charged across fields with the weight of a nation on his back now walks barefoot through dew-covered lawns with a fishing rod in hand. It's where the chaos of 1981 gives way to the quiet of 2025, where grandkids learn to fish, where old teammates stop by for roast lamb and endless stories, where no one keeps score anymore. And then there's the village itself, Ravensworth, stone cottages, an ancient pub, and not a paparazzi in sight. To locals, Sir Ian isn't a legend. He's just beefy, a neighbor who chats at the market, who donates to the local church, who waves from his Bentley but still knows the name of your dog. So why here? Why not the flashy heart of London? Or a penthouse in Marbella? Because for Sir Ian Botham, true luxury isn't noise. It's stillness, not visibility, but privacy. And in a world where fame is fleeting, this estate in Ravensworth is his anchor. A sanctuary built not just of stone and wood, but of legacy, love, and something even rarer: contentment. But this isn't the only place he calls home. Sometimes, when the British skies turn gray and the chill bites a little too hard, Sir Ian escapes to warmer lands, to a Mediterranean mansion where sunlight meets sophistication. Let's go there next. Mansion in Almeria. When England's skies turn moody and the winds rattle the old trees of Ravensworth, Sir Ian Botham simply boards a plane. Destination, sunlight. Destination, Almeria. Nestled on the southern coast of Spain, kissed by the Mediterranean and bathed in 300 days of sun a year, This is where the cricket legend trades tweed for linen and firewood for orange groves. This isn't just a holiday home. It's a $3.7 million Mediterranean masterpiece, a private paradise built not to impress, but to exhale. Step inside the villa, and the first thing that greets you isn't furniture or walls. It's air. Open, fragrant, sun-warmed air. Double doors lead into a grand foyer, where ceilings soar 2 stories high, not in grandeur, but in welcome. The walls glow in soft sand and ivory, the floors cool and earthy under bare feet. This isn't a house that shouts. It sings, quietly, in the language of retreat. On the left, a formal sitting room turned library, a silent sanctuary. Bespoke bookshelves line the walls, heavy with memoirs, cricket trophies, and classic leather-bound Hemingway. A plush reading chair tucked near a sun-drenched corner hints at slow mornings and slower afternoons. You can almost imagine Botham here, book in hand, lost not in stats, but in stories. Because in this home, time isn't kept by watches, but by sunsets and the sound of distant waves. The heart of the house? A sprawling, open-concept living area where a sleek stone fireplace anchors the space and custom-built cabinetry hides high-end tech. The kitchen is nothing short of chef-worthy. State-of-the-art Viking appliances, quartz countertops that shimmer like sea foam, and a central island where wine is poured, meals are shared, and stories spill like olive oil. Adjoining the kitchen is a formal dining room, set for 10 but always open to more. There are no strangers here, only longer conversations. And then, the outdoors. Floor-to-ceiling glass doors slide away, blurring the line between inside and out. Step onto the garden terrace, nearly 8,000 square feet of lush greenery, curated flora, and breezy stillness. Here, Sir Ian hosts summer dinners under the stars. Here, grandchildren chase lizards and dreams across Spanish stone paths. Here, wine flows with laughter, and nobody asks about wickets or centuries. Because here, he's not Sir, he's just Ian. Upstairs, the mansion becomes even more personal. 2 luxurious master suites, each its own haven. The larger boasts a private balcony, a modern fireplace, and a walk-in wardrobe that echoes quiet elegance. The spa-inspired bathroom is pure indulgence. A deep, soaking tub, rainfall shower, and twin vanities in soft marble. It's a space built for unwinding, not rushing. For long pauses. For real rest. There are 2 more guest bedrooms, each with handcrafted wardrobes and soft, earthy tones. No glitz, no excess. Just taste. And perhaps that's the most surprising thing about Botham's Mediterranean escape. It doesn't scream celebrity. It whispers peace. This estate isn't about fame or prestige. It's about balance. Where the sun greets him, not the flash of cameras. Where the only crowd is the chirping cicadas in the olive trees. Where his days begin with café con leche and end with Rioja by the fire pit. So, why this place? Because when you've lived your life under the weight of headlines and expectations, you begin to crave something quieter, not less meaningful, just more real. And in Almeria, under a Spanish sun, Ian Botham found a second home that feels like the man himself, timeless, bold, but beautifully human. Now that we've wandered through the homes that cradle his peace, let's step into something louder, shinier, faster. His cars. Because Sir Ian's love for the countryside doesn't mean he's left horsepower behind. Let's open the garage next. Cars. You can tell a lot about a man by the cars he drives. And when it comes to Sir Ian Botham, each vehicle isn't just transportation. It's a chapter in his story. A statement of elegance, power, and personal taste. And listen carefully, because every engine here has something to say. Bentley Continental Flying Spur. It starts with a low growl, refined, understated, but undeniably powerful. That's the Bentley Flying Spur, Sir Ian's choice when style must meet strength. With its 6.0-liter W12 engine, this luxury sedan glides with 626 horsepower beneath a body carved like a Savile Row suit. It's not a car for racing. It's for arriving. Ian's been spotted rolling into charity galas in this understated tux, tie just slightly loose, stepping out with the grace of a man who knows exactly who he is. The leather? Deep navy. The trim? Polished walnut. And the ride? Like silk over stone. Maserati Levante Trofeo. Then, there's the Rebel, the car with fire in its veins and an attitude to match. The Maserati Levante Trofeo, the Italian stallion in Ian's collection. A twin-turbo 5.8, 580 horsepower, 0 to 60 in just 3.8 seconds. Why would a cricket night need this much force? Because sometimes even legends crave adrenaline. This is the car Ian takes when he's driving through Spain's sunburnt hills. Windows down, music up, that deep-throated Maserati roar bouncing off the cliffs like a war cry. The seats hug like a race car. The paddle shifters whisper, "Let's misbehave." It's a reminder, under the quiet gentleman, still burns the beast. Range Rover Velar. And then, the workhorse. Elegant but unafraid to get dirty, like its owner once was on the pitch. The Range Rover Velar is the all-weather, all-terrain, all-English staple in Botham's fleet. 2.0-liter turbo, all-wheel drive, floating roofline. This is the vehicle for muddy trails in Yorkshire, for golf clubs tossed in the back, for boots still damp from a morning in the field. This is the car he drives to the local market, where villagers nod and simply say, "Morning, beefy." It's not for show, it's for life. And sometimes, that's the most luxurious thing of all. These three cars, a British Classic, an Italian Fireball, and a countryside Rover, are not just about roads. They're about rhythm. They tell us that Sir Ian lives in layers, fast, slow, loud, quiet, grand, grounded. And through every chapter of his life, from captaincy to countryside, he's always chosen the ride that matches the moment. Because the man who once ruled the crease now drives through life with intention. But how does a sportsman go from county wages to a garage worth hundreds of thousands? To understand that, we have to follow the money and the quiet fortune that came with it. $20 million. That's the number often whispered in financial columns when Sir Ian Botham's name comes up. But how does a man who made his name in white kits and muddy pitches build a fortune fit for mansions and Maseratis? The answer lies not in flash, but in longevity, loyalty, and knowing when to pivot. It started humbly. In the 1970s, county cricketers didn't earn like football stars or tennis champions. Botham's first paycheck at Somerset could barely cover a round of pints. But what he lacked in early earnings, he made up for in value. His performances sold tickets, his name filled stadiums, and by the 1980s, he was the face of English cricket, and brands noticed. Broadcasting came next. Sky Sports saw in him not just a retired athlete, but a storyteller. His gravel voice, sharp wit, and no-nonsense charm became a fixture in English households. For over 2 decades, Sir Ian didn't just commentate the game, he narrated the culture. TV deals, panel appearances, and specials padded the income stream, slowly, steadily, transforming applause into annuities. Books followed, autobiographies, memoirs, retellings of the ashes, each chapter a window into a life that fascinated generations. Royalties flowed, not fast, but faithful. Like a well-placed drive, they earned through precision, not power. Then came endorsements, not dozens, not flashy, but curated. Walker's Crisps, Sherry brands, outdoor lifestyle lines, deals that matched the man, country, grounded, with just the right dash of cheek. And then, as the applause faded, Botham did what the wise do. He invested in property. One estate in Ravensworth, surrounded by trees and trout. Another in Almeria, kissed by Spanish sun. Each appreciating over time. Each now worth millions. Not just homes, assets. But beyond the headlines and balance sheets, there's something more interesting here. Sir Ian never chased luxury. He built it, slowly, brick by brick, with every wicket, every book, every broadcast. His wealth doesn't shout. It whispers in lake reflections, in oak-paneled rooms, in Range Rovers parked on gravel. So yes, the number may be $20 million. But the real value? A life well earned. A fortune built not by flashes of fame, but by the steady rhythm of purpose. And what does a man like this do when he finally has it all? He gives it away. Not the houses, not the cars, but the energy, the time, the love, to causes that matter. Let's walk that path next, because the legend of Botham is not just measured in runs, but in miles walked for those who couldn't. Philanthropy. It all began with a wrong turn. In 1977, while being treated for a broken toe at a hospital in Taunton, Sir Ian Botham accidentally walked into the pediatric cancer ward. What he saw there changed him. Tiny beds, bald heads, brave eyes, children with weeks left to live, and no one to fight for them. He walked in a sportsman. He walked out a crusader. 8 years later, he took his first step. Not onto a cricket field, but onto a road. 900 miles of it, from John O'Groats to Land's End. Not for cameras, not for sponsors, but for leukemia research. The man who once sprinted between wickets now walked across a nation. Blistered, battered, but unbreakable. That was just the beginning. Sir Ian didn't stop at one walk. He made it his mission. 12 long-distance charity walks followed, across continents, through pain, rain, and relentless terrain. Sometimes alone, sometimes joined by celebrities, but always for the same reason: to save children, to raise awareness, to raise hope, to raise money. By the 2000s, his walks had become national events. Crowds lined streets, TV crews followed, but the focus never shifted. Every mile was a child's chance, every blister a badge of love. And the result? Over $15 million raised for cancer research and children's charities. Not pledged, not promised, raised. Every step audited by sweat. Every pound earned through resolve. In 2003, he became the first ever president of Bloodwise, the UK's leading blood cancer charity. He didn't just lend his name, he lent his voice, his time, his energy, campaigning, fundraising, speaking in Parliament, meeting survivors, comforting families, hugging parents who had lost everything. Because he knew, behind every statistic was a child, just like those he saw that day in 1977. And it didn't stop at cancer. In 2014, Botham designed his own Paddington Bear statue for charity, joining other celebrities in raising funds for the NSPCC. Even in marble and fiberglass, the message was clear: protect the innocent, always. In 2007, Queen Elizabeth II knighted him not just for services to cricket, but for services to charity. Think about that. He wasn't just honored for what he did on the pitch, but for what he walked and gave after it. How many sports legends can say the same? Today, even with knees worn and years added, Sir Ian hasn't slowed down in spirit. He still supports children's hospitals, still appears at fundraising galas, still uses his voice, not to retell old matches, but to rewrite futures. Because the measure of a man isn't just in what he won, it's in what he gave back. And Sir Ian Botham? He gave more than wickets, more than centuries, more than money. He gave himself, 1 mile at a time. But behind the public walks and televised awards lies a quieter life, a smaller circle, a truer rhythm. Let's now step into his world, away from the crowd, and meet the man he is when no one's watching. Personal life. He's walked across countries. He's faced down the world's fastest bowlers. He's stood under more pressure than most men will ever know. But ask Sir Ian Botham where he finds his peace today. And he won't mention cricket. He'll mention family. Since 1976, he's been married to Catherine, Kathy, the woman who knew him before the knighthood, before the headlines. They met in the 1970s, at a time when Ian was still just a lad trying to break into first-class cricket. She saw the fire in him, but also the kindness, the steadiness, the silliness behind the swagger. Together, they built a life through chaos and calm. 3 children, grandchildren now circling their knees, and a love story that's weathered more than the English sky. At their Ravensworth estate, days begin not with alarm clocks, but with the sound of birds, the clink of teacups, and the gentle cast of a fishing line. Because make no mistake, fishing isn't just a hobby for Sir Ian. It's a sanctuary. He speaks about it the way monks speak about prayer, with reverence. The lake on his property isn't for show. It's a place where time pauses, where thoughts settle, and where the only scoreboard is the one in his heart. When he's not fishing, he's golfing, often in Almeria, where the weather's always willing and the greens stretch to the horizon. He still enjoys the occasional hunting day, a countryside tradition that's sparked controversy. But like everything else in his life, Ian does it on his terms. Quiet, measured, thoughtfully English. He's fiercely private now. He no longer courts the limelight, though it occasionally finds him. He prefers dinners with close friends, long walks with his dogs, and quiet fireside evenings where the only sound is a jazz record and a cork being pulled. The adrenaline of the stadium, replaced by the laughter of grandchildren chasing ducks by the lake. The press tours and plane rides, replaced by Sunday roasts and barefoot gardening. And though the tabloids once tried to unravel his private life, he's made peace with all of it. The mistakes, the headlines, the humanity. Because Sir Ian Botham, like any great cricketer, understands innings. Some are glorious, some are messy, but each is part of the match. And the current one? Well, it's quieter, but maybe more meaningful than ever. So what remains when the lights dim, the crowd goes home, and the boots are hung? In Sir Ian's case, a loyal wife, a loving family, a fishing rod, and the soft hum of a life well lived. And as we approach the final stretch of this journey through homes, fields, and legacy, one last reflection remains: the silence after the storm, the stillness after the century. There was a time when Ian Botham didn't walk through a town without headlines following him. A time when his name was etched on cricket scoreboards and whispered across pub tables in every corner of England. He was the man of the moment, the warrior who changed matches, lifted nations, and walked off fields with dirt on his knees and destiny in his hands. But time, as always, moves on. The roar fades. The flashbulbs dim. And the man, now Sir Ian, retreats into something rarer than fame. Stillness. In a stone-clad estate in North Yorkshire and a sun-drenched villa in southern Spain, Sir Ian Botham has built a new kind of legacy, one not measured by wickets or centuries, but by peace, by the quiet cast of a fishing line at dawn, by the laughter of grandchildren echoing through a conservatory, by the knowledge that he gave the world his best, and then gave back even more. He once said, "Sport gave me everything. The least I could do was walk for those who couldn't." And maybe that's the story here. Not just a sportsman, not just a knight, but a man who walked through greatness, through scandal, through rain-soaked miles of purpose. So now, as we close the door on this journey, pause for a moment, not to clap, but to listen. To the sound of wind through the oaks at Ravensworth, to the soft splash of trout in an English lake, to the kind of silence only a life fully lived can earn. And if you've felt something in this story, a flicker of nostalgia, a breath of admiration, a quiet question about your own legacy, then don't let it end here. Like this video. Share your favorite Sir Ian moment in the comments, and subscribe for more stories of legends who've lived boldly on the field and beyond it. Because this isn't just about cricket, it's about life. And no one lived it quite like Sir Ian Botham.